This is a public service announcement declaring that Shieldmaidens are a part of the meta. They are one of the most important units to bring to territory wars. Not necessarily sieges, not necessarily even ranked, but territory wars. And this video proves that, because I am tired of this past week when leaders in our community, streamers in our community, YouTubers in our community have been just saying ridiculous things about this unit. That they're not viable, they're crappy, they don't need to be bought, it's a waste of your money, all this stuff, when they didn't even put the time and dedication that I have to test this unit. I've put over 15 hours of testing with the help and support of the Wolf Syndicate, the guild that I'm in. It's part of HK. And this unit will be used in territory wars by our alliance moving forward. You turn my sixes to nines. Before we get into the meat of this video, I would like to request that you please consider hitting the subscribe button at the bottom of this video. If you thought this video was helpful, enlightening, maybe changed your mind on something regarding Shieldmaidens, it would be a great way to support me as a no longer Twitch streamer and now fully dedicated YouTuber. Hit that subscribe button so that I can keep my content creator status, as well as provide you with future content. You'll get a notification, and subscribing doesn't cost you anything. So this video is going to walk you guys through the spreadsheet and my extensive testing that was done over the past couple of days. If you don't want to watch the video and you'd rather just skip straight to the spreadsheet link is in the description below. So go ahead and take a look at that. That has all of our findings, all of the results, as well as some conclusions that I've drawn on how these units are going to be viable in territory wars. So getting into it. The first thing you guys need to understand is how this unit shines, how it is in a group of its own, okay? So this unit is a buffing unit. You are to prioritize its buffs. It has two different buffs and one debuff. The first buff is Guardian. And the way Guardian works is in spear formation, use its one, which is known as Guardian, and it's a point, location, depending on which way you want them to face, because they're going to pretty much form a shield wall at that location. You can rotate it whichever way you want using left and right on your keyboard, as well as put them to a point. But once the first Shieldmaiden enters this location, all units around that Shieldmaiden, and maybe a few around it, I don't know the exact testing on that, will get buffed. As you will see, they'll glow. I get a buff, and that buff is increased defenses for 250 for 10 seconds. As soon as that buff hits, you want to start your push or use that buff to prevent a push. 10 seconds is a long time for a push, so you just cycle that buff with the next buff. The reason why you're using Freya's charge is to buff the units around you. So when you activate it, you just do a small little mini charge, and then everything around it gets a 10-second buff for 20% enhanced damage. This is insane for preventing a push or making a push. The final buff is a debuff, and it is applied when Triple Strike is activated and a Shieldmaiden hits the enemy unit. You're not going to use this all the time. You're going to use this in situations where you have to engage the enemy. It's like, all right, well, I can no longer be a defensive supportive unit for the rest of my team, and the team needs me to engage. Then that's when you activate Triple Strike. The way Triple Strike works is that every time a Shieldmaiden strikes an enemy, that enemy's armor penetration will be decreased. It does not stack, but it reapplies the debuff every single time on a 5-second cycle that the Shieldmaiden hits the enemy. This is essential for situations where you have to engage and use your Shieldmaidens to do damage. You are trying to avoid this unless it will make or break a push. I'm going to avoid going through all the basic information about Shieldmaidens. That can all be obtained through your unit challenges. You can quickly go pop over to the unit, take a look at them. But what I am going to touch upon are all the assumptions that are in the spreadsheet. My assumptions are listed on the right. I will go through them for those people who don't feel like reading. You got the Shieldmaidens are level 30. Their veterancy line is on the top. This is a focus on TW applications and defensive positioning to support pushes or prevent pushes. It's tested one-on-one during open world applications, and we waited for the Guardian buff to wear off before doing these tests. So that's 250 defenses that the Shieldmaidens will have going forward or when you use it. So we wanted a proper baseline because sometimes the Shieldmaidens will not have that buff, but it can only be better with the buff. So as you can see here, doctrines that I use are all epic doctrines. Essentially, the important things here are the reduces Guardian cooldown by 5 seconds. You can also get a reduces Freya's charge cooldown by 5 seconds, but the cooldown for that would lower it to 31 seconds. And Freya's charge is amazing and it's really helpful, but I don't think losing out on the other doctrines for that Freya's charge is worth it. There may be some argument removing the reduces damage taken by 30 for that additional 5-second cooldown on Freya's charge. I haven't really tested that too much, what works for me, but the idea behind the reduces damage by 30 is that you're trying to avoid losing all your Shieldmaidens to charges by armigers or charges by hussars, because the charges from Lancer Cav will go straight through them. They will take the damage, but they won't be knocked down, which is beautiful, but they still go through them, which means they take the damage, and you're trying to minimize that damage so the Shieldmaiden can survive. You can pull them out. You can keep using them. So as you can see, the other doctrines here. From there, you can go over to the veterancy line, which I use top line. Now, there's some argument for this. I still need to do some testing that I might knock out a few of these and see if I can put them into the bottom row. But essentially this block recovery for 20% stacks to 60 plus the additional 200 from the doctrine is an insane amount. It may be overkill. I don't know. So if I can knock out these 5 lines and put them on the bottom, I'll be able to double up on health, and then they'll gain like another 930 health, which could be helpful because then you'll be able to survive those charges, which are really the only thing that puts pressure on Shieldmaidens from being successful. Now, if you jump to the bottom of this spreadsheet before we go over each unit's interaction with the Shieldmaidens, you will see additional notes. This is essential because this maps out all the extensive hidden things about these buffs and these formations. And so pay attention because Guardian does not stack with Freya's charge. That's the biggest thing you need to know, is that they clash. When you use one, it cancels out the other. So you need to use Guardian's cooldown, then as soon as it's over, use Freya's charge, cycle, and repeat. But the good thing about these buffs is that they do stack with Short Sword's Ironsides when you use the rune with it. That's huge. You're going to have an extensive amount of defense buff that can stack together. The Glaive buff, you're going to have an extensive amount of damage buff that can stack together, as well as Commander. Cover Commander, they secretly have Sprint activated during it. Scroll back to the top. Things to highlight. I'm not going to go through every single line. I'm just going to do general conclusions, and you guys can look into the meat of it if you want. Armigers. Before the patch, Shieldmaidens got wiped by Armigers. After the patch, they do not. They do not take enough damage from an Armiger charge to die. Best formation to prevent an Armiger charge? Guardian. Hussars. If you see a Hussar charge coming and you need to face tank it, make sure they're in Guardian with the defense buff, because the Armigers and the Hussars will go through the Shieldmaidens. Your job in that scenario is to survive, and so you buff to avoid as much damage as possible. In an ideal world, when there isn't units behind you relying on you to protect them, you just cover Commander, move out of the way. Their speed boost keeps them out of the way. They're safe. Great. Monastic Knights. Now this may be a bug or something because they took 0 damage from monastic knight charges. 0 when using Guardian. Keep in mind, guys, this is Guardian. You can see the notes on the right. Go into the specifics. 0 damage. This is hysterical that they take 0 damage from a monastic knight charge. They go through them, but they take 0 damage. Liaos. Yeah. They kill Liaos. Now, Imperial Pike. There's some people that think Imperial Pike win against Shieldmaidens. No, not at all. They don't even like knock them over. If you keep Shieldmaidens in spear or with their spears out, they just continually get knocked back the Imperial Pikes. So Imperial Pike walk comes, you're just sitting there in Guardian or you're sitting in line formation and it doesn't do anything to you. Knock, 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 knock. They eventually just stop and then you just kill them. It's just pathetic. 40s. They get obliterated by Shieldmaidens. 40s trying to come into them and brace and stuff like that. They take no damage. The Guardian formation just tanks it. No damage. Freya's charge into 40s. Yeah, obliterates them. Stalwarts. They just lose all around in every which way possible to Shieldmaidens. Paladins. Paladins win in every which way possible against Shieldmaidens. Interesting. Azaps, they lose. Berserkers, they lose in both ways. Charge into charge, Berserkers die. Guardian into a Berserker's charge, Berserkers die. Silidars win. It does take a little bit of time for the Silidars to wear the Shieldmaidens down, but they do win. Imperial Jabs, yeah, good luck with that. You need to use all of Imperial Jab's throws to like do anything to Shieldmaidens. They just face take it. You can see the specifics. Same with Jav Sergeants. Yeah, you can see the specifics. They do interrupt the Freya's charge, which is good, so you can stop a Freya's charge. Because Freya's charge can be dangerous to heroes. It can one-shot heroes. There's some weird mechanics between heroes and Freya's charge, which you can look into the details in the spreadsheet, but it's not too relevant. But if you're going to, take your Shieldmaiden play to the next level, you need to know how those interactions are or work. Imperial Spear Guards, I had to test those because they were super tanky before. They do have a shield bash, but they just get obliterated by Shieldmaidens because Shieldmaidens have the triple strike plus shield bash plus knockback when they're in spear formation. Yeah, Shieldmaidens. I keep saying Spear Maidens because they do have spears. They're phenomenal. Pavis do no damage to to Guardian Shieldmaidens and charging Shieldmaidens. Imperial Archers, no damage as well. Namcans, no damage as well. I haven't tested Flame Boys, so if you just stay up to date in this spreadsheet, you will see this tested shortly. I just haven't had a chance to test this. Same with Falconetti. I can assume where these would go. I would say that the Flame Boys and the Falconetti have huge effects on Shieldmaidens. That would be my initial assumption, but honestly, I haven't tested them. And sometimes flame mechanics plus cannon mechanics work differently, but that's something to look forward to, guys, if you want to check back on this video or on this spreadsheet. Tertios, yeah, no damage to Shieldmaidens. Imperial Arquebusiers, yeah, no damage to Shieldmaidens. Do you guys get the point here? All these people who are saying that Shieldmaidens are, worthless or not worth the leadership, yeah. Make sure you come to me or one of the TWS members or ICO members or FC members before you start listening to some of those other people who don't do the proper testing. Finally, hero interaction versus Shieldmaidens, because essentially you need to use your hero to break through the Shieldmaiden Guardian formation or the charge or something like that. You need to do that. It's the only true counter to Shieldmaidens other than Lancer Calf. Here's the interactions. You got Short Sword, Ultimate, which isn't as strong as I thought it would be. Come a frontal thunderstruck, still effective. You got some interesting interactions here. Feel free to read them. Glaive ultimate, it does prevent the Guardian. It does knock them all down. It does stop the Freya's charge. You got some other skills here. You got some basic attacks by Maul. You got Maul's ultimate, or rather Maul's Bonebreaker plus Maul's Maelstrom. That how those interact. You shouldn't really be using Maelstrom. You should be using Uku's. That's another discussion for another video. But if you are using Maelstrom, highly suggest you change to Uku's. Musket, the bomb does knock over all of the SMs, but they don't take any damage. Longbow ultimate knocks them all down, doesn't take too much damage. Longsword ultimate, extremely effective against it, but they don't take too much damage, but it knocks them down because the idea is to get Shieldmaidens out of the Guardian formation or prevent a Freya's charge. Spear, don't even bother attacking Shieldmaidens. It's just worthless. The spear kick does delay the charge, but it doesn't interrupt it. It's pretty funny. Same with Uku's. The way it works is that they'll continue to charge, but at a slower rate than the initial charge. That's all I got for you guys. Please hit that subscribe button. I do extensive testing for things that I think matter in the game, or when I hear people just crapping all over other units when they don't do proper testing themselves. The amount of times that I heard over the past week that Shieldmaidens were trash, and that's not true. So please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, because I'm all in for Shieldmaidens. Peace. A special thanks to Noble Pop, Jen, Seki, Lionheart, Pew Pew, Noob Skills, Kaisa, and Oni. They were extremely supportive in all of this testing, and I put them through hours of testing, and they had to keep listening to me bark orders. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. This wouldn't have been possible without you.